6:45, the Town of Plainfield Pension Board meeting is now officially called to order. Let's do a roll call.
Art Gaggy.
Kevin Cunningham. And we have one absence tonight. Christie is not here. Item C, approve the minutes of the pension meeting dated September 12, 2022. Copy of that.
I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes for September 12th, 2022.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, on to new business. Before we start into that, I would like to make a motion to add item D2, and that is the proposed pension board 2023 regular meeting dates. If I can add that, motion to add.
So, second.
Meeting with a second, or a motion and Art with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion is carried. Again, that's the proposed pension board 2023 meeting dates. So item number 1, consider an act on pension distributions as requested. You should have 2 in your packet. If you don't, you know. First one is a name from the past, Richard Marcoux. Richard is asking for his, he actually, just so we all understand, he was here from 87 to 2011, 24 years of service, and then he is now requesting his pension because he is now of age, so he wants to get his pension. So if it's your pleasure, the commencement date is October 1st of 2022. He'll be back dated his other checks, and his monthly pension is $785.91.
Make a motion to approve the pension for Richard Marcoux for $785.91 per month to begin on 1 October 2022.
Okay, Scott, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next one up. Is for Carol Davis. So Carol was hired in December 15th of 1988. She has her termination date of January 30th, 2023, so that's 34 years of service. Carol has also requested her monthly pension to be paid, so that will be $1,707.18, commencing February 1st, 2023, and again, you'll do that as of that date. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept. So, with the pension monthly of $1,707.18, starting commencement date of February 1st, 2023. And Dean, you have made that motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Art, second. Any other discussion? Other than thank you very much for all those years of service, Carol Davis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's good. Item number 2, which I think is added on. And I shall give you so on item 2, because I didn't know when we have another pension meeting before the beginning of the year, I thought this would be an appropriate time just to add this in right now. Taking a look at those dates on there, we can always make an adjustment if need be, but for the pension proposed meeting minutes, dates we have listed here, start time is 6:45. We've got February 13th, March 13th, April 10th, May 8th, June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, September 11th, October 10th, November 13th, December 11th, and January 8th. Scott has made the motion. Art, a second.
No, I
Do you have a question? Sure.
Only about the November 13th.
Yeah.
Is Veterans Day will be on Saturday then?
I believe that would be it. Okay, thank you. If it's following anything like the current year, they would do the Thursday, so it wouldn't impact anything that we do.
Yeah, backwards.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. Dean, second.
Second.
Art, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Good evening, the time is now 7 p.m. I'd like to call this Board of Select meeting to order for November 14th. Ask that you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and now roll call.
Art Gagnon. Scott Hart.
Kevin Cunningham. And item C is to approve the meeting minutes from the Board of Select meeting from 10/24/22.
Just have a couple things.
Okay.
In new business, item 1,
Yes.
right at the end, in the motion, it says Art Gagnon.
Okay, we can change that.
Item 2, I had down that I made the motion, and Scott seconded. I don't know if you have, Scott has that written down or not. Item 2. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Okay.
The fluff.
I made the motion, Scott seconded. Then in other,
Yes.
Kevin mentioned that the last BOE meeting, BOS meeting, and also at the end of that line, are asked for a vote on items to be discussed, and we did not ask for a vote, so I would like that scratched.
Okay, hold on a second. Was it the BOE one?
BOE
Oh,
should
got
be
it.
BOS. I
BOS.
did ask for a public hearing, but I didn't ask for a vote on items.
Well, I can change the BOS one, but Art, you did ask for a vote. You asked for a public meeting and a vote. It was just the three of us in the room.
So the question was
Was the comment that he asked for a vote?
I asked for the Lions Club,
You asked-
we could have a public hearing.
but we should have a public hearing and
That's all I asked for.
clarify that we had already.
Just want to make sure that we can clarify by just saying your name, where you're from.
Yep. So my name's John Gunnels. I live at 16 School Street here in Central Village. New to the area, so I wanted to stop in and see town meeting.
Okay.
So I had some questions, and a lot of it revolves around the annex, the infamous annex that has been a subject of a bunch of meetings. And I know I missed the meeting on September 14th, and so I had a couple questions on that meeting. One of the items was to approve a request for $500,000 to demo it. And had anybody looked into requesting a smaller amount to fix the roof?
Okay. If you don't mind, I mean, you're catching up with a lot of things that were discussed, and the issues were brought forth between multiple meetings and then brought forth to a vote. During those meetings, they talked about the condition of the building. There was both the issue where we had the fire marshal and the building inspector who went in to say that the building is no longer usable. They did put a condemnation for the building. We also had a structural engineer come out, a licensed structural engineer come to the building to give the evaluation on it, and it was determined at that time that it's not worthy to go forward with it at that point. So there were so many issues with that building that the roof is a minor one at that point.
Yeah, because you saw the meeting, or not the meeting, the report of 2019 by that structural engineer? Are you referring to that?
No, we did one just recently.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, because in the 2019 report, it indicated the roof was a serious problem. It was causing more damage. And that was the main issue, because once the roof would be fixed, then of course, the building could actually be mothballed. But anyways, item 2 on this was to approve the commitment of demolition costs to be, of the annex to be used as a financial match for any state or federal program. And I guess, can you explain that? That doesn't really, I don't know what that means.
Okay, there was, and by the way, we're fortunate we have our grant writer here. He's the one who actually found and picked the grant.
Okay.
What we're looking to do is to leverage the monies that would be utilized to take down the annex to do other things on the property. At the end of the day, if we wanted to put up, and what was proposed was to put up a pavilion. A pavilion that would actually be able to service farmers markets, food fairs, craft fairs, things like that. Also, part of that would be to go across the street and bring back the parking lot to a larger area, 130 spots to park, and then that would also help out with different events that we'd have there. Push button crosswalk to go across the road for safety. Up in the back, the Board of Education had donated the property in the back of an old softball field and donate that property to that project so that we hold, again, if it was a Colchester, and I think there's a couple other towns that have the larger fairs, they would be able to have vendors around the field. And the other part of that is to have an area where you can have a community garden. So what we're talking about for the leveraging of those monies for $500,000, that's 25% of the actual cost of the project. So to put all the other pieces together, you can put up a project that would be about $2 million.
Right. I guess that was the question, is how that actually works when you're paying a company to demo it, and how does that get used into becoming a grant?
Sure.
How does that get?
Sure. The simple answer is that you're using those monies to leverage into a grant, saying that's your in-kind services of what work you would do. So we're waiting for the grant to be it's already been put out. We're waiting for it to come back saying if we got it or not.
Okay.
And then at that point, we'd be able to put all the projects together.
I see. Okay.
And that, just so you have an idea, that those, let's say it's $500,000, then that money we're not going to take out of the general fund because it was already expended once for the demolition of the property, and then we're not taking any more money out for the rest of the project. It's all done via the grant.
I see. Okay. Well, they've already gone through the determination that apparently it's not going to. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's,
The cost estimate was like well over $9 million to restore the building.
well,
Well over.
the estimate from here was about $270,000 to fix the roof. And that
Okay,
was-
that's a roof.
Right.
But then the rest, if you have an opportunity to go back and view the actual minutes of the meeting online, you can do that and watch the whole meeting.
Yeah.
But basically, there's an issue. There was a structural issue. The structural issue is that in 1924, when that building was built, there was cement, there was the rebar, and there's cement on top. Because of the fact that we didn't have that building HVAC, the cement on the bottom started falling into all the different floors.
Yeah.
So structurally, it's not sound. And that takes away the strength of the building, so when that starts collapsing, your strength starts to diminish.
Right.
So at that point, you're being timed by $9 million. I'd say more likely 14. The other problem is, what is it you want to have to be the building to be made into? We've looked at all the different options that we thought of. We already have a lot of those buildings. Or functions are already done.
Well, except for the library.
Okay, you can't have a library there. Why? It was already tested for the weight. You can't have a library in there because it wouldn't be able to
You
hold.
have a library in an 1800s wood frame house, so if you can.
Okay, this is stuff that's by the State Library Commission. We don't.
Yeah.
They're the ones who came out and measured and tested, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
In 2004, there was a committee put together to talk about the determination of what to do with that building. And while they had their great intentions to put it together and say, let's make something out of it, whether it couldn't be a library, but anything else, the problem was, once the HVAC wasn't placed in there, that's it. It starts deteriorating immediately. So,
Well, the roof took care of that, actually, yeah.
well, there's a lot of other factors too. You don't have a good airflow system in there, properly ventilating. In the wintertime, it's awful. There was ice coming in.
Yeah, it's too bad, it's pretty cool. Well, yeah, that was the question I had, because I kind of got up to speed on it, so.
Okay.
So, appreciate your.
I'm Marge Robinson, and I Exhibit 16 proves this. You can't have a library there, but there is a library in the high school. There has to be. So,
There is one in the high school now, the new high school.
no, but there had to be one in the old high school.
Well, there was, they tore that down.
It was in the
There has to
1970s
be.
building.
I mean, that's part of-
It was at the end of the
It was, yeah.
1970s building.
And
It was, that's been
Oh,
demolished.
so you
Yeah.
tore that down?
Yes, in 1924, that building was built. In 1961, the new building was attached behind it, and that was when that library was put in.
Where the football field was.
Yeah.
No, well, anyway, the annex was in use until like 2004, 2005, and then it was.
Correct.
One other question.
Sure.
Why did the library from Central Village move to Rustic?
Okay, there was, just to give a little history on the libraries, there were actually, at one point, there were 3 libraries in town. One is downtown on Railroad Ave, but right beside a breakfast place there.
Okay.
Years ago, they actually stopped funding that, so it was a very small library. The other one was Central Village inside of the firehouse. Again, that was something that was taken out of the funding. So the only one that's left is actually Aldrich Library in downtown Moosup, and that is something that's not owned by the town. That was something that was given in perpetuity. I'll mess up the word, but anyways, it was given to use for the townspeople for a library. There's a great history on that. This gentleman over here, our grant writer, if you want to talk to him anytime, he can give you a little bit of the history of that. And it's definitely something we try to invest in by giving it into our budget to help them out. But yeah, it is something that 8 to 10 years ago we tried talking about a centralized library. We just couldn't find the right place or the right amount of money because you'd have to get grants to build up something brand new. And we estimated at that time it would cost about $500,000 to run it on an annual basis. And the way things are right now, libraries have changed tremendously. There are a lot more electronic versions than what we have in the past, seen in the past, but it is valuable. The library is a great value, so we're trying to look at to the future what to do next.
So now Rustic's the only library.
Correct.
In here, well, there's other libraries.
Yeah, I know there were libraries in
Kelly.
Yep.
but there were all kinds of grants for libraries.
They just received one this year.
So you're going to have a great time talking to that gentleman about grants because he's done a grant for the library already. So
We got about $50,000 put into some building needs to be restored, so we're currently working on that. Last year and a half, we first did a feasibility study, and now we're working on architectural plans and specifications for it's a 3-phase restoration project. I've actually been working with the library. I'll be there tomorrow, actually. We have to cut through the wall so they can see the brick and actually evaluate the foundation further. But yeah, we're working pretty hard on trying to preserve that building.
There's all kinds of grants for that.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
just to clarify, your last name?
Von Olson, D as in Victor, O-N-O-H-L-C-N.
Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Any other member of the public wishes to speak at this time? This would be the time to do so. Okay. Hearing none, item E, old business, none. Item F, there's a long list here, so bear with me. Consider an act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $5,768.85. Rydell Roper, 5550. Again, Rydell Roper, 1738. Allied Financial, 13803. Toyota Lease Trust, 16092. Michael E. Haynes, $99.36. Annabelle Melendez, $11.55. Toyota Lease Trust, $954.61. Toyota Lease Trust, $322.48. Toyota Lease Trust, $190.96. Toyota Lease Trust, $509.37. Toyota Lease Trust, $444.92. Toyota Lease Trust, $497.81. Toyota Lease Trust, $131.15. Toyota Lease Trust, $208.15. Robert Bellavance, 1803. Hyundai Leasing Titling Trust, $608.81. Gabrielli Trust, Truck Leasing LLC, $1,281.25. Sandra J. Havens, $118.57. I'm hoping my math is correct. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the tax refunds in the amount of $5,768.85.
Thank you. Motion's been made in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this is the time where they're selling, buying back their vehicles, so that's why the money comes back from this. All right, discuss and act on, item number 2, discuss and act on installing Town of Plainfield Emergency Operations Center framework. So for those who are interested, the idea is that the Emergency Operations Center kind of needs a scope, a purpose, organization, and this was drafted by our fire marshal who also works the Emergency Operations Center. So we're just looking to see what you think about this draft. So it gives on the third page, I think, it's kind of an important piece. Section 6, principal functions of the EOC. It's responsible for the overall response management and responsible for coordinating all operations to support given an incident action plan. It's responsible for collecting and evaluating, disseminating information and coordinating development of the incident action plans. Responsible for procuring facilities, services, personnel, and equipment and materials. And then, of course, the finance administration part of it, which is responsible for tracking incident costs, forecasts, payments for responders, contractors, and claims. Art and I have worked that before. One winter, came in through a storm. Well, it wasn't even winter. It was, yeah, it's a hurricane. Thanks for
Yes.
It's very important because you have one person who goes down to, this is in the central fire station, one person who goes down and maintains all of the radio commands. So if there's a call for a tree down or a call for lines that are down, they're the ones who disseminate the information to try to get eyes on it and make sure that that's what it is, and try to evaluate the level of need. And so we call out whether the fire department, the police, trying to report as best we can so that we get things closed off safely. So that's the main value of having this for emergency situations. So I just want to know what your first thought is on the draft.
I think you did a very good job. Nothing I saw. I have a question. Especially having gone there with you.
Yep.
I can see the operation. Yeah. I think you did a really good job.
And there's occasions where you'll see in the budget you may need to have something replaced over there, so we try to help them in that way.
You know, I was going to ask about that because when we were there, we needed radios, so we needed better communication. Have they gotten that?
Already been fixed. Yep. So what's your pleasure with this? You can always come back and re-address issues, but what's your pleasure at this point?
I'll make a motion to install Town of Plainfield Emergency Operations Center framework as read.
Thank you. A motion has been made in a second to implement the Town of Plainfield Emergency Operations Center framework. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 3, we do have one request to change the date for the December Board of Selectmen from the 27th back to the 26th. There's some offsetting meetings to it, so I just want to know if that's okay with you. Yeah.
Okay. I know we changed it already.
Yep.
So,
I'm free that day.
So motion?
Make a motion to change the December meeting date from the 27th to the 26th at 7 o'clock.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 4, discuss and act on DECD resolution for financial assistance for the inter-rural site assessment and remediation. So, so what you have is a redo. We did try one time, it didn't work out, so we're going to see if we can reapply. You'll notice there the certification resolution for the governing body is just the to apply for the DECD framework for $14,180,750
for abatement demo remediation project. I think if anybody saw what the first round of all these projects went to, it was Bridgeport, New Haven, Hartford. There's only one on the eastern part of the state, so we weren't really happy with that. But again, there's other rounds of it, that's why we're back again with this. So if you're all right with it.
Well, I have questions.
Sure.
This is the right general statute, 32-763? Okay, so, and it's 14,180,750. Item number 1, is that a different statute, or is that supposed to be the same? It's 3763.
That's
That was
the
a
fixed
typo.
one, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so I looked up the general statute. Oh, first of all, I have to ask, do we have a court ruling that we can do anything on any oil? I know we had.
We're still waiting for the final pieces from this, if you wouldn't mind.
Mary Ann Gennati, Town Planner. We have submitted to the court a request for a court order to demo the buildings due to their unsafe conditions, because the building official had sent an order to the property owner, which has been bankrupt and defunct since the 90s. That came back, of course, unaccepted. We have a court date. A hearing is scheduled for January 10th on that matter, and it's anticipated that the judge will rule in the town's favor, and at that point in time, we'll have the ability to go in and demo the buildings and do the additional work.
I have other questions on the general statute, if you wouldn't mind. 32-763A says a grant awarded under this section shall not exceed $4 million.
The DECD, this is a new program by them, and unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you, because that's the statute that they cited to me to put in on the resolution.
The second question on that, B, 32-763B, asks for environmental assessment results. Do we have results, environmental assessment results?
That is what our Phase 1 is getting us.
Okay, so we don't have them yet.
No, not yet. We have a draft assessment, and that should be in its final form within the next couple of months. And this grant application is not due until January.
And when will they decide on the actual grant?
Pardon me?
When do they decide on that?
It will be a month or two after the submission date, and the submission is January 2nd.
So we'll have information back from the court order, we'll have information back from the state prior to that.
Okay. And then the third one, 32-763D, awards grants based on a request for applications occurring on or before October 1st annually. Does that mess us up because we're already into
It
November?
would, no, because it would be submitted before October 1st of next year.
Next year. That's right, because January.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're comfortable that 4 million is not correct,
Yeah. I mean, that's the statute that they cited to me.
okay, that's 2013? You know?
I didn't ask them the date, frankly.
I didn't know if there was an amendment since then, because I went on Google and found it, so
Mhm,
if there was an amendment since then.
I will look into that, though.
That's all my questions.
Okay. Anything else? So we entertain a motion at this time for the DEC resolution for the financial assistance for interwell site and assessment remediation.
Make a motion to approve the resolution for financial assistance for interwell site assessment and remediation. Anything more?
No, this is in the resolution. Have a motion? Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Laura. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then if
Mary Ann, if you wouldn't mind keeping us up to date on what the steps are at that time, so.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Item 5. Aye. Okay. You'll see in your packet for item 5 is if you follow the procurement policy. I want to give more detail than just the procurement policy because we have a contract with the sewer department that tells us that every year they like to have 3 people on plows. And within the contract, it talks about how that, they would get a certain stipend if they're doing all the plowing. There's certain sections in there that tells you where they're going to plow. The problem with this year is that only 1 person out of the 3 signed up. So in order for us to be safe for an issue with plowing and during a snowstorm, we have to have people, which is why we're actually putting it out there right now for hiring contractors. They'll have to bid on it. There is 1 person out of the 3 that said they would like to. And I would still say that they follow the town's agreement, the collective bargaining agreement, and still be able to plow, but I'll use a lot of other areas without plowing. So, I think it would be appropriate to help us out to have a plow on one of the 2 new trucks we just received. That way they can take care of the town hall. We're also going to be able to take care of the track area and possibly the library. The rest of it we can do in subcontract. So it does save us some time, and so I was looking for a way to do this properly by doing, you go out there and get informal bids. We have 3 informal bids in front of you. And so with those there for also for installation. So it would be the price of the plow plus installation, and you see in front of you what you have. Ask Ron just to write it up for us.
One question. Where's the money coming from?
Well, I will be working with the our finance director. She said she would be able to find some money, whether it's within his own department or somewhere else we can find it. I mean, there's also contingency money we can take from there as well. But we'll definitely have something.
You'll let us know.
Yep, absolutely. So because it's listed as discuss and act, I would ask for your motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to accept K&H's bid of $6,300 for the snowplow for the maintenance truck.
And we have a second. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I will follow up to say what the line item is we're taking it from. Item 6, discuss and act on a bid bypass of contract with National Fitness Campaign. The reason why we're asking for a bid bypass is because there is only 1 vendor. So you'll see in your packet there is from Mark, and there's more detail to it, but that is it. It's the 1 company is the National Fitness Campaign, and the other ones we have did a grant funding award for $30,000 to take off the entire bill, so that's why it's down to that $112,350. Is that correct, Mark? So again, it is only 1 vendor, so I want to know your pleasure on that, and if you wanted to make a motion.
I have some questions.
Sure.
First, the same question, because I believe that goes through into Royal's property, so do we need a court order?
We found out it's not insurance property.
Okay. Second question would be, do we need flood management certificate?
We're working on, actually, Mary Ann, you also suggested go through a certain process. We're looking to go forward, and we are working on that right now.
A2 survey, site plan?
All of that has to go through.
They scope inland wetlands, planning and zoning? Okay. Question about the price. The $112,350?
Yes.
Does that include the installation? Does that include the concrete pad?
So,
Because it was bigger for,
they have a subcontract who will work with future to make the installation. We're going to handle we're still evaluating kind of things, but the 112 is after the installation.
Correct. So
That's with the installation?
Without, no,
Without.
with that. So 112 is for the equipment,
No.
but we've already allocated a certain amount for the total project, which
So-
would include installation as well.
Okay, so that won't go over the other 42,650. That's what's left. We figured
Correct.
155 for this project. So it's 42,650 left. That'll cover the installation, that'll cover the concrete
Installation,
pad,
concrete, yes.
everything. Okay. Next question is concerning the concrete pad. It's a high water table. Do we have to do anything special for
No,
that?
actually, we've been speaking to the National Fitness Committee about that exact question, and they made it very clear that we won't have any issues with the biannual or semi-frequent flooding that we have. An example they gave us was the recent hurricanes down in Florida. All of their courts down in Florida withstood all of them.
Is there a warranty with this?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's 20-year warranty.
So my question on this then is, if we're gonna waive the procurement policy, go with one bidder, are we bidding on this now? Are we gonna purchase it now without our approvals? And if we don't get the approvals, is it gonna be sitting in storage?
I would say we see no reason why we wouldn't receive the approvals.
But they're not approved, they're not
Correct.
received yet. We don't have to have this material on ground, on site until April, correct?
Yes.
We have until April, so
So
what?
the reason why we're looking to purchase it now is so that we can lock in a lower price. As soon as I believe is.
Oh, it might change.
Correct. And it would go up by about 20 to 30,000.
Okay. And that brings up my last question, I guess, is where are we going to store this? This is 9 pallets and 20 crates. Where are we going to store it? Because they're not going to put it until June, right?
So we spoke with the parts of the engineer, and we specifically asked what size space we would need, so if we stored at 15 by 15 storage unit.
Right.
So we're evaluating different solutions, and that would cover by the plan or the match.
So I don't think it's 9 pallets, but like Jordan said, it can be stored in a 15 by 15 space. So yeah, we've been looking into different storage options. It could be rented in a storage container, it could be rented in a local storage locker, or a local storage facility. We have a number of different options. If we're not able to already find an empty space, on how to property.
I guess my biggest thing is purchasing this thing and then not get approvals. I'd rather have the approvals.
So that would put us at a position of higher cost.
Good, I guess. This is not all proposal, it's zero to me, right? That's my only reservation.
I still say we can find a place to store it, whether it be through renting a locker area or a storage unit, or working with the Board of Education to find a place to store it as well.
Do we have any clue as to when we'll get these certifications and approvals?
We'll submit the planning and zoning application for the December meeting. And then for their policy, we have to wait in January. So, I believe we can.
And wetlands.
And what's, yes,
First.
so, hopefully January.
Mr. we can't do any digging out there, we can't do any digging out there anyway because we have to wait.
Well, I don't care about that. I just worry about spending over $100,000 on materials that we don't have approval to put in. If we don't get the approvals, then we're going to be sitting on this over $100,000 worth of materials.
There's not really any reason why we, with the flood plain and everything, with the plans that we had, there's really no reason why you can't, I guess, mitigate, you know,
Make it work?
yeah, exactly. And then therefore, you know, receive proper approval. There's really nothing that we can come up with to promise you.
Yes. Marianne?
Again, Mary Ann Chinati, Town Planner. I just urge, because that's in the actual, it's in a floodway, it's not just in a floodplain. So when the project is being designed, I would urge you to get a hold of DEP early on in the process to make sure that everything is copacetic with them, because like I said, that is in the actual floodway. And that makes a difference a lot of times.
Assuming, could we get the flood management certificate?
I don't know. We've been working with the planning enforcement officer, Ryan, to get those proper permits, so I think he's been taking the lead on that.
Of course, he's not here tonight. It's my question.
Any other questions, concerns? All right, so we do have to act for bid bypass for the contract with National Fitness, as they are the only vendor. Entertain a motion at this time. And second? I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Yay.
Item G, other, Christmas lighting ceremony Friday, December 2nd, at 5:15 to 7:30 p.m. You should see on the town website and Facebook page that there is this flyer. I'll give you one. And for the public to know that there is a Christmas lighting ceremony. This is going to be Friday, December 2nd, 5:15 to 7:30. There's live musical performances. We have the senior choir, we have the high school chorus, we have the central school chorus, we have mass production. We will also be having, along with the caroling, there'll be kids crafts. You get to meet Santa. The carriage hay rides, there'll be 2 of them. There's going to be 2 fire pits there as well. We're going to have free food, so this is always going to be free as long as we can do that. There'll be hot dogs, there'll be hot chocolate, there'll be popcorn and candy. So we are looking forward to a very nice evening with everybody. Last year, I think there's somewhere around 500-ish. So I would like to, oh, by the way, I did send this over to, the flyer was also sent over to the Board of Education, and they're sending it out both by email and also with printed format to all the families. So I hope to see you there. I don't think there's anything else between now and then.
I just want to say, I appreciate all the people that showed up at Veterans Day ceremony.
Yes.
It was well attended this year.
And for those who didn't know, definitely there's always ceremonies for Veterans Day here in the park. Also at the same time over in Moosup. And that day, it was also later 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a very nice ceremony for the dedication of the, it was the, Nathan Cross had put together a plan to renovate the downtown American Legion 91 post flagpole area, and so he had a beautiful a brick laid area around that whole section, so it was really, really nice. Anybody still interested in getting a brick to memorialize a family member who was in service, they can still see Chip Goss or Nathan Goss, and still do that at any time. So yeah, there's a lot of, it was a very busy day, well attended, well, actually it was very well attended. So. Any other? Hearing none, motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.